First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Bashmi Al Shai Bashim Rakak Kwadash, and double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone that have taught us this truth, and to include the elder bishops on down, and Yahweh Bashmi Al Shai Barakatham to the elect, whom this gospel is only made for. And what I want to do is I want to give my few words in regards to what's had between these two. And you have this man over here, Larry Johnson, which is a CIA analysis, and so he's basically agreeing that which a lot of these analysis are seeing the same thing. I mean, how could you not agree that the American economy is going down to the dogs, as the saying goes? And things are going up in price excessively due to, we have to go all the way back to the early days when you had the quantitative easing and geopolitical tensions, and especially in regards to what's happening right now as well with this war with Iran, which is going to spike up further amounts of more goods due to the energy being a problem as well. So we have to be very well aware of what could be, and what could be is what we had in the past. We know about the as well as they were talking, right, and he was speaking about goods going up. It led me to think about the inflation of the Deutschmarks back during the time in Germany, where the German currency was worthless. All right, it was absolutely worthless. And to buy a loaf of bread, this is how much of that currency you needed. That's how worthless it was. It was absolutely nothing. And wouldn't be surprised if this happened to the American dollar, where it just goes down to absolutely nothing. And something that I also want to share too is a comment that was posted on this as well. And this is how you know that people are waking up. People are waking up. They're forced to having to wake up to smell the coffee, and to know exactly what the plan of the elite is. Let's all remember, this is from Freedom Bay. Let's all remember that they are not making mistakes. The breakdown of the old is a must for their new world order plan. All right. So I totally agree. It's all planned, because in order for you to bring a one world system, as we all can agree with, you have to break down the old world system. And this is just a part of it. This is something that we're going to keep saying, because, I mean, what else do you say what the plan is? It is what it is. All right. So you had the inflation. I spelled it wrong. I said, I meant to spell it this way. Right. But yeah, I'm a little tipsy, man. So just bear me a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm getting better, but just bear with me, man. I'm not 100%. So yeah, another thing too. Back in ancient Rome, you had the same thing with their currency. You had the debasement of the dinero during the time almost at the end of the actual Roman Empire itself, because you had both sides. You had the western side and the eastern side. And I believe the eastern side is where Jake was ruling. Jake was becoming more progressive, and the real side of Rome was becoming, um, you know, if I can use this word, it was becoming less progressive. All right, and that's what you had, and then the Roman Empire just became the Holy Roman Empire, because Jake took over it. So yeah, and also too, as this reads too, heavy military spending and political instability, Emperor lowered the silver content in the main coin, the denarius, to pay for wars and palaces, which caused prices to skyrocket. Now, isn't what they're doing right now? For the most part, they're spending, especially America in this case, and even other Western countries are doing this as well. All right, but let's focus on America now. America's doing this at a highest degree. They're spending the taxpayers' money, the American people's money on what? Military spending. That's where most of their money's going to. Now, the other half of their money is going to other causes and what have you, but primarily most of it's going towards weapons of war, military spending. And this just goes to show you that as the scriptures reads, the thing that had been, this is Ecclesiastes 1 and verse 9. The thing that had been, it had that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It have been already of old time, which was before us. Absolutely. So everything is reincarnated. People are reincarnated. In some cases, kingdoms are reincarnated. All right. Gods are reincarnated. Philosophies are reincarnated. So what Esau is doing now, whether they're doing it by purpose because they're going back in history and seeing how the Roman system ruled, and so they want to copy that same system, or they're just doing it on the whim due to spirit. The spirit got them doing the same thing all over again. All right. Revelations 12 and 13 and verse 12. And he exercised of all of the power of the first beast before him, and caused of the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. So what was the power of the ancient Roman Empire? The military. Yes, their power was involved in the Senate houses and what have you, but primarily the main power of Rome was based on their military power, which the military at ancient Rome, they would wear iron, as their as their what do you call it? As their armor. That was like the strongest kind of metal to wear when you went to war. They would sword with the iron, and they would wear the breastplates on iron as well. All right, and the helmet and all of that stuff. So that was their power, which really, just to simply mention the military. So America and as well as the European countries are doing the same thing. They're spending more of their money on military spending because that's the power of that same system. But as they're doing that, they're destroying themselves economically. They're spreading their military too wide, and now their power has been thinned, because really most of the military you want is inland, not outside of the land. Let's just say a country or several of countries decide to strike the country with a nuclear bomb. Excuse me, yeah, nuclear missile, right? Where's the military going to be to protect the country if most of the military powers is spread outside? And that's how you know that this place is sanctioned for the greatest destruction ever told. The Lord got these nations set up in the right places, man. It's all been set up for their overthrow, their great downfall. So that's all I got to really say with this, man. With that, I wanna close and say once again, Shalom.